Hi guys, I would like to welcome you to the fourth episode of Chad Chat. So why the hell did I just take off my glasses when I said that? Well, actually, it's in response to today's viewer named Todd who asked me to take my glasses off as I introduced the episode. Why? Well, he thinks it's funny. So I hope you enjoyed it, Todd. But before I get to your question, I would like to address some other issues first. Just so you know, this is going to be the second to last episode of Chad Chat for the 2011 year. After that, there won't be any more until 2012, and the reason for this is because of the holidays, and I'm actually going to be traveling, so I won't have my work computer available to me to record the episodes. But again, fear not, there will be more episodes coming in January of 2012. Secondly, there won't be any more new tutorials for 2011, as well as any animated works that I was working on. Again, just with my hectic schedule, I'm not going to have much time to do tutorials or any of my animated projects. In fact, I actually planned to do a Bennett Christmas special before the year was up, but again, given my schedule, I've decided to postpone all animated works and tutorials until 2012. But again, you can look forward to all of that and some new stuff coming in 2012, which I'll be updating you on as things progress. So anyway, let's begin the fourth episode of Chad Chat. Today's question comes from Todd, as I mentioned before, and he writes, "Hi Chad, my question to you is how long would it take to become good at animating in, let's say, Adobe Flash? By good, I mean being able to animate without needing to look at tutorials for help. Also, what inspired you to start making animations on YouTube?" And then, of course, you can see the PS down there where he asked me to take my glasses off. So, yeah, you can blame him for that one. So, Todd, to answer your questions, I'm actually going to combine them. I'm going to lump them together because in order to tell you how long it takes to get good at animation, I'm going to bank off my own experiences, which actually lead me to my own inspirations as well. So, just so you know, that's what I'm going to be doing here. And it's going to be kind of a commentary over a lot of stuff at once. So hopefully it helps you and anyone else out there who's watching this. To get started, I'm going to say this, and it's going to probably frustrate some people. Learning learning anything of this nature is very subjective. So basically, there is no set number of hours, days, months that it takes someone to achieve this. For instance, someone out there could learn Flash in a week and be comfortable with it and be up and running. Others, it might take a month or more. And it just depends on how you learn. If you're a visual learner, how you're learning. If you're doing tutorials, if you're taking classes, if you comprehend things differently than the other person. It just all depends on that kind of stuff. So I just need to point that out. So to really answer your question outright, there's really no right answer to it. However, I can bank off of my own experiences and tell you how long it took me and basically what to expect and what you're going to learn from this. So rewinding the clock way back in 2002, and now I feel old, I started animating in Flash, and I created my first episode of Mr. Binky's class, which is awful. You can check it out if you wish. It's on YouTube. But it took me, I would say, 2 to 3 months in order to get comfortable enough with Flash to animate that episode. And in order to get comfortable with the software, I actually used this book. I still have it. Flash 5 Cartooning. Now, I wouldn't recommend buying this book because you'll see this number here, it's a 5, meaning it's old. So basically, what it did teach me, though, was how to use Flash CS5 for cartooning, or Flash 5. See, I'm already brain farting on this. It taught me how to use Flash for cartooning, but it also taught me how to plan, how to draw, and so on. So it was a good book to pick up and read. And so as I read it, I went along with the lessons that came with it, and I was soon able to do simple things. I was able to, tween. I was able to draw my characters, draw out my scenes, and so on. So it did help me. And again, it took me about 2 to 3 months to get to that point. Now, here is my next point though. As I said, that first episode is crap. It sucks. You can go look at it for yourself. The thing you have to understand is there's never going to come a point where you stop learning. This is a continual process that you'll just continue to build on your skills for as long as you do it. And this might come in the form of learning new software, learning new versions of the software, or just picking up on new techniques that you want to learn. I mean, for instance, when I started with Flash, my only prior experience to animating was Microsoft's 3D Movie Maker, which was a kid software designed to create 3D movies. It was actually a lot of fun, I'm not going to lie, but you had to use preset characters, preset objects, and preset scenes. It was pretty much all there for you. You just kind of picked it up and you just went with it. And you could do some things in it that were quite cool. I mean, there's many awesome movies out there people have made with it. But the bottom line is, it kind of held your hand in the fact that you had the characters and you have the objects already available to you. When I started Flash and I opened up that screen and I saw that blank canvas, I didn't know what to do. I was actually very overwhelmed, and it took me a while to even open it up and be like, okay, I need to sit down and do this. And then I got the book, and then it just went from there. But again, it's a continually evolving process. Look at my first work, Mr. Binky's class, and then compare it now to my latest work, which would be Mr. Bennick's class, Raging Hard On. The thing is, they're actually, coincidentally, the same series. The character's name is a little bit different, but it's actually meant to be the same series, but reimagined. And you can see that my techniques have evolved. They have changed. And that's because I didn't stop learning. After this book, I went on and looked at other books. I did tutorials, learning from tutorials, and so on. To this day, I still look at tutorials. Even though I make tutorials, I still look at tutorials for not just Flash, but any software that I'm using. Because again, it's a continual process. You keep building on it. And it's a foundation that you just build upon. So that's something to keep in mind. That it's very important to keep in mind, because here's my next point. So back in 2009, I made a cartoon. It was the latest episode in the Walking with Walken series. And it didn't fare too well. It actually didn't do very well at all as far as comments and ratings were concerned. I realized right there that it might be best to retool what I was doing. I felt creatively I was maybe in a bit of a rut. So I actually took 2 years off from animating, and then my next project was Mr. Bennick's class. During those 2 years, I tinkered around with things. I tried to reestablish my skill set, and I looked at different software, and Mr. Bennick's class was the result. Between those 2 years, you can see the evolution from Walking with Walken to Bennick. There are design similarities, of course. My character designs remain fairly similar, but overall, I would say that my work is more polished now than it was 2 years ago. And that's because I stepped back and I re-examined what I was doing. I took initiative to make my work look better. Now, I'm not saying by a long shot that my work is the best out there. In fact, it's not at all. There are many talented artists out there who do much better design work than I do. But the thing is, I was able to become more comfortable with my work, and that's the key. You'll know when you're ready, when you are comfortable with what you're doing. The minute you become uncomfortable with what you're doing is when you need to evolve, is when you need to change, is when you need to do better. And for me, the whole process is all about doing better. Whenever I make a movie, when I get done with it, I know right then and there that I will be doing better next time. I'm going to push to do better. I'm going to try to make my animation look better. I'm going to try to tweak a design here. I'm going to make sure the script flows better next time. It doesn't matter what you change. The point is, you always want to outdo yourself, or at least try to outdo yourself. And that's important. So you will become comfortable, but there might come a point where you're uncomfortable. That's when you need to relearn, retweak, and just basically revamp. Not a lot, sometimes it just takes a little, but your goal should be, in my opinion, always to do better. So with that said, and kind of on the same point, just to get to your second question in more detail, what inspires me to put things on YouTube is, well, first of all, my experience with Microsoft's 3D Movie Maker really sparked my creativity at youth. Although the movies I made on there were not very good, it did drive me to do better. It drive me to make more creative things as I evolved my skills past that software. The second point is, while it's more, I guess, straightforward, is I just love to create stories. I love to make people laugh. I love to surprise people with my stories. I love to make people question what is going on in my stories. And I'm not sure why that is. I've just always had this urge to tell these stories that are in my head, and creating them in animated form is one great way to do that. And so that's what inspires me, is to create the next best story. And originally when I was younger, I wanted to be a video game designer. And as I got older, I kind of realized more and more it was the storytelling in some of those video games that drew me in more than anything. And I think from there is where I got inspired to tell stories through film and animation. So to wrap up, because I've covered kind of a lot of ground here and I've been kind of jumping around, to be good at animation, it's going to take time. How much time? It depends on your learning comprehension. It depends on your resources. I would say the moment you feel comfortable, the moment you're looking at something and you feel pride in it, is when you are ready for the next step, which is to polish up your work and then eventually release it. As far as ever completing your training in animation, it's not going to happen. You're going to keep evolving. My opinion is your goal should be to push to better yourself in every single project you do from the one before it. You just want to keep doing better. You want to better yourself. You want to always build your skill set. You want to always keep entertaining people, and you want to keep surprising people. And that is my advice to you. So anyway, I hope that helped you out. I know, again, it's kind of jumping around. It's a bit of a different commentary than I usually do. But anyway, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to send them my way. You can go to chadchat.incredibletutorials.com. You can check me out on Twitter. I also have Google Plus and Facebook pages for you guys to check out. So fire away and I will read your questions, and it just might happen to appear in an upcoming episode of Chad Chat. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week.